Three drivers, one championship. After a disastrous run for J.R. Shepherd last round, he hopes to secure yet another BRL championship. But it's not going to be easy. What could have been a mathematical clinch turned into just an 8-point separation between him and Kenny Kibbe after a late race incident. For Kenny Kibbe, he looks to try and secure another championship in his own mark and hopes for a bit of luck once more to be able to take away the championship from Shepherd's hands. For James Lowe, meanwhile, he looks for a lot of luck tonight, with someone entering tonight 15 points back. And with a lot of luck, may he be the one who wins the championship. The question is, who will win that title? And how will tonight fare? We're about to find out on the Global SimRacing Channel. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual New Smyrna Speedway for the final race of Season 5 of the Bootleg Racing League's Grand National Series. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside of the booth tonight is Devin Henry. Behind the scenes, our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. As our drivers make their way around one of the series staples, let's learn more about tonight's facility with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to New Smyrna. Located just a few miles down the road on I-95 to its more celebrated neighbor, the Daytona International Speedway, New Smyrna is a hotbed of short track activity. During Daytona Speed Weeks, New Smyrna is the place to be, with races every night during Speed Weeks that bring out some of the biggest names in all of auto racing. New Smyrna is a fixture of the oval career path, so chances are you've had several races here. Whether it be a late model, the wheel and modified, the street stock, the list is endless. Famous NASCAR drivers started their career here, and the track has proven to be an increasingly popular test venue among NASCAR's teams. 20 degrees of banking in the corner awaits our drivers today, with 7 degrees on the front stretch. High banks, high speed, high excitement is the name of the game here at New Smyrna. Having to put together a lap here is extremely tricky, as you have to be on top of your game, not hit the wall, and manage that transition from the corners to the straightaways. Adding to the challenge of all of that, New Smyrna is a very narrow track. Pinpoint precision is an absolute must. All in all, it's widely agreed that New Smyrna is a legendary Florida short track, and you're going to see why today. Big time action, short tempers, and a shorter track. New Smyrna has it all. Enjoy today's broadcast.
That's a look at your GSRC track guide for New Smyrna Speedway. Now let's my broadcast partner for tonight, Devin Henry, as we get ready to go racing here once more for many different seasons and many different series for BRL competition. This track has been a driver's favorite. Your thoughts on tonight's facility?
And just an absolute staple, whether you are in the Bootleg Racing League or whether you are just a member of iRacing or Real World Racing, New Smyrna Speedway is such a fun, not quite a bull ring, but the way that these 23 degrees corners drive, it almost feels that way with the amount of speed that you can carry. But this half mile, very fun, still very tricky. What I look for tonight is who is going to push the limit the most successfully. You can push the limit on corner exit, but a little bit too much gas, and that car is going to whip around as we go from bank to less bank straightaways. So whoever can find that bridge between over-aggressive yet in control of their car is going to have the fastest lap times tonight.
It's going to be a very interesting race, to say the very least, tonight. Of course, it's going to be a very interesting championship battle as well after the trouble over at Lucas Oil Raceway for J.R. Shepherd. Just 8 points separate him and Kenny Kibbe entering tonight, with James Lowe in third position. It should be worth noting that James Lowe has not made it to the racetrack yet for tonight's action. Justin Morden is currently at the very edge of mathematical range, 17 points back currently in that fourth position. Austin Belke, looking to secure a top 5 run, is in that spot, entering tonight by 16 points. Could get that position with a solid finish over Kurt Smith. So some solid runs so far from our drivers. And for J.R. Shepherd, needing a solid finish here, that's going to be very important here as we take a look towards our race details for tonight.
Final round, time to bring out the money race, the championship. Will J.R. Shepherd go 4 for 5? Can Kenny Kibbe go back-to-back? The championship tonight will consist of 100 laps here at New Smyrna, but you got to start the race on the same tires that you end the race. And no, I don't mean scuffs. You have to go all 100 laps on the same pair of tires, 2 pairs of tires, 4 tires, if you will, hopefully. But you only get 1 faster pair too, and at a short track like this, it can cause absolute mayhem. You only get 1 chance to reset the car. And how we set the grid, no qualifying tonight, guys. We take last week's finishing position, set them up in that order, and the top 8 from last week get inverted. So the guys who ended in the front will start about mid-pack, and for guys like J.R. Shepherd, you're just going to have to come from the back.
Indeed, these drivers are in the midst of practice to prepare for tonight's action right now. Currently 17 drivers at the facility, currently turning laps for tonight's action here at New Smyrna Speedway. These drivers currently setting lap times in the 18.5s to the top of the board by, guess who? J.R. Shepherd, Kenny Kibbe, Mike Holloway, Adam Shane, Todd Liston. Your top 5 separated by about 0.2 of a second. Right now, the majority of the drivers in the 18.7s, in fact, so far here on an 85-degree track temperature surface, 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Mostly cloudy skies for tonight is your weather, with the winds gusting to the southeast at 2 miles an hour. So, pretty hot racetrack for tonight's action, all on May 29th, 2021, just past 8 p.m. in sim time.
We will have nighttime. This track is going to cool down a little bit, but not a ton with all the tire wear and all the cars on track. And you can already see drivers late in this practice session are trying to push the limit on corner exit. How much throttle can you have in that car without it wanting to loop around and without burning out that right rear tire tonight? A lot of speed can be handled here in these corners, but it's more so a matter of, can your car actually contain what's going on? Can you hold on to the thing without it turning around? That's going to be a big difference maker tonight, especially if we see some long green flag runs, Justin.
And we've seen long runs here in the past that can stretch the entire race. The fall off can be seen upwards of a second and a half for some of the drivers here for tonight's action. But it should be worth noting some of that action earlier tonight. J.R. Shepherd ended up coming away with win number 10 of 11 to close out the Street Stock Series season and a championship there, while Kenny Kibbe was able to take home the victory in the Tour Modified race. Shepherd ended up winning the championship on that side of the BRL's competition for this evening. For tonight, for Shepherd, a chance for history though, Devin. If he can secure tonight's Grand National Series Championship in the history of BRL, a chance for number 50 in terms of championships.
A very storied league. They go across many years and many different series in a single season. So 4 seasons a year, and right now there are 6 seasons, if you will, in the Bootleg Racing League. So there's a chance to win 6 championships. Now, JR doesn't do that every single season, but nonetheless, there's 24 championships that you can win in a single year. And the fact that J.R. Shepherd, while he hasn't been dominant on the dirt side, when you look at the Asphalt Series, Truck Series, Tour Modified Series, National Series, Street Stock Series, 49 combined championship between every series, every single league that the Bootleg Racing League has done. Opportunity tonight for number 50. And unlike some past years here in the Grand National Series, it won't be a mathematical clinch. What has astounded me the most, Justin, this year is the fact that all 4 of our championship drivers, no, this is not championship 4 like NASCAR, J.R. Shepherd, Kenny Kibbe, James Lowe, Justin Morton, all have an average finish of 5th or better this year. All 4 drivers have finished in the top 5 nearly every single race. The utmost consistency out of these drivers has been astounding, but J.R. Shepherd's 7 wins this season shows you who the dominant driver is. All he has to do is not get caught up in some bad luck like last week, and he will win his 4th Grand National Series championship. And like you said, Justin, BRL title number 50 overall.
It'd be an impressive feat. And by the way, in that mark, Shepherd and Kibbe averaging a top 4 on the season as well, to add to that wrinkle as well. To the point where Shepard, Kibbe, and Morton have averaged starting in 7th position with the invert. Only James Lowe is not in that total. He has averaged a 5th place starting spot. Austin Belke has also averaged about a top 7 on the season. Should be worth noting that Austin Belke could be someone to watch here for tonight. On the bottom side of the practice charts at the moment, yes, in the 24 machine, and currently getting the chance to rest, but in the modified race, Devin had led a majority of that race until the closing stages.
When you look back at last season's race here at New Smyrna, he started on the pole due to the top 8 invert and led the first 23 laps of the race. Now, he did have issues trying to maintain that pace and kind of set the pace for the race and burn out that right front tire. Ended up coming home in 11th place. So, tonight he's already had quite a bit of good momentum through the first 2 races tonight, the Street Stocks and the Tour Modifieds. You come into tonight at a track where you led laps at almost a quarter of the race he led here last season. He knows how to get around this track. It's going to come down to, can he hold on to those higher positions and also maintain that right front tire? That's a major key in this league, going 100 laps at a half mile on one set of tires. That's the most difficult part about this league, I think. And it just goes to show how good our championship 4 drivers, if we want to call them that, are when it comes to maintaining your right front.
Of course, tonight as well is going to be interesting how the lines play out here, as these drivers have less than 40 seconds of preparation left to go here, Devin. Your thoughts on how the lines could break out, especially since there's the chance to pinch down from the middle line and try and make moves up there?
And that's a question mark for a lot of different leagues, especially with iRacing's new build when it comes to how the track dynamics work nowadays. But even at New Smyrna just 3 weeks ago, right, you could still use that outside lane, utilize it to, like you said, pinch. You can defend on the outside lane. And on old tires, if you have the best right front, you might not be able to pass, but you're going to be able to take advantage of other drivers' mistakes if they're stuck on the bottom and have an issue on their own. You can still use that lane to pass. So there are ways to make this a multi-groove track, but when you do it and how you do it is the most vital part.
Drivers have now finished up practice. Kenny Kibbe finished with the top time in the 18.5s for tonight. It's time to take a look at how they'll start, however, for your season finale for the BRL's Grand National Series here at New Smyrna Speedway. On the pole tonight is Jason Mendez starting alongside Adam Shane. They had a great battle for the final inversion spots last week. Kurt Smith starts in 3rd alongside Austin Belke, with Kenny Kibbe in 5th position. Justin Morton, Jeffrey Harden, and Lowell Jewell will round out the inversion spots. That's going to be a storyline to keep an eye on, especially the back half of the field because of Shepard. We'll get to that in a moment. Ruben Altis and Bruce Pearson round out your top 10.
Joe Segala will start off inside of row number 6, and there he is, J.R. Shepard, starting in the 12th position tonight, looking for championship number 15 BRL. He will have to come from quite a ways back and maintain that right front to get another win tonight. It would be win number 8 on the season. He just needs a top 8, though, to lock up the championship. Mike Holloway starts off in 13th, Ryan Seneker in 14th, Donnie Moore coming from way behind in 15th, Todd List in 16th, and Mike Gallen rounds out your 17-car field here at New Smyrna Speedway.
That's all top to bottom at your running order for tonight's action. As the drivers now hit the racetrack, your keys to victory once more for tonight's season finale.
Learn how to push the limits. Again, 100-lap bold tires. What are the limits on corner exit? How much can you get on the gas without looping that car around? If you know your limits, you're going to do well if you don't jump over them and turn the car around. But another key is going to be tire conservation. If we do get some long green flag runs, you want to have some fresh rubber to fight for a win at the end of tonight. Last time we raced here, 9 cautions for 41 laps. Might we see a turnaround here tonight?
We'll see, as Kurt Smith has gone to end the longest line penalty just served to him. He'll have to start shunking in the field as a result. That'll move the drivers up from the 2nd row on forward. An initial row, that's going to be big for Kenny Kibbe because that moves him essentially to the 3rd starting position as a result. Harden moves to the 5th starting position and so forth. But the iRacing pace car is off. Green flag is out. We're underway for the season finale for the BRL's Grand National Series.
Jason Menda, the 25-year fire veteran, jumping out to the quick lead. But like you said, Justin, Kenny Kibbe, for him now, this is more so a defend race. You know you have to win tonight more than likely. And starting this race on lap 1 in P2, that's got to be a good feeling.
Absolutely. As the caution flag is quickly out, it's Mike Holloway up against the outside wall with Ryan Seneker. Under yellow for the first time tonight is the 61 in the 2 machine. 2 getting contact from behind from the 61. As a result, we'll see you on the GSRC replay. Here's one thing to note tonight. This is after a bit of contact. There is no new damage model on tonight for these machines. That has been recently disabled by iRacing.
You can see Seneker just trying to get into the corner a little bit hotter than I think Holloway was there, and Holloway checked up a little bit more, a little bit of contact, and these two in the back. I think the biggest loser here that will be Ryan Seneker, major damage on the right front side of that car.
And it's going to be interesting how the damage fares tonight, because as just talked about, the new damage model is currently in the midst of updates across the Archimedes, Chevrolet Impala, as well as the 1987 NASCAR stock cars and the street stocks at the moment. So that's going to change how the damage is going to be for tonight's season finale as a result, and for the next couple weeks potentially.
And we've seen some very strange iRacing glitches with the right front tires shooting up into the sky, and so hopefully we won't see that tonight. At the very least, the hopes are that that has been figured out. That might have been a session error or something along those lines. So those are some things that can take you out of a race. As much as I love the new damage model, when that front bumper falls off the car, you just freak out a little bit, because then your tires want to run over the front bumper. So what exact damage are you going to receive from contact tonight that might not even be your fault? That is always difficult. Speaking of difficult, Kenny Kibbe, Justin Morton, they're going to restart on the outside here, Justin, so they're going to have to make use of that outside lane.
Going to be very interesting indeed as a result. And again, to re-emphasize, it is the previous damage model that will be utilized for tonight's drivers here for this evening. But as we get the one-to-go signal here, it's Jason Menda who is at the front, Kenny Kibbe, Justin Morton, and Adam Shane among your top 4 drivers. Austin Belke will start in the 5th position. Jeffrey Hart in 6th. Altice and Jewell round at the top 8. J.R. Shepard has already made his way inside the top 10. The outside of row 5 is where the 98 machine is. Needs to get a few more spots to make sure he is comfortable mathematically at minimum at the moment. But the iRacing pace car ready to pull off. The sedan makes its way down the pit lane. The cars rev for the green flag.
That was interesting. You might see this in your official sessions every now and again. Jason Menda playing with some new games on restarts way off the rear end of that pace car. It did not work, though. Kenny Kibbe in the 14 wants his back-to-back championship, taking that 14 to the point.
Menda now pinned down, in fact, as Justin Morton drives to the outside. Menda trying to hold it against the yellow line. Adam Shane also trying to jump onto the quarter panel to the right side, and does. Now battling hard for 3rd position as a result. Junior Championship favorites up front as there goes Menda. He clips the apron and slides to the inside wall for the caution flag.
Just overcooked it on entry a little bit there for Menda, and I was actually going to bring up the fact, you would think, hey, being on the inside, that's the preferred lane. It must be easier, right? Well, not really, because when you're stuck with a car and you're outside, you drive it completely different than if you had someone not there, because you have to enter the corner lower than you think, so you have to get it woed down quicker. And you see right there, the rear end just kicks out because he just went in a little bit too fast. Sometimes that means the car pushes, sometimes that means the rear end is going to go further than the front end of the car. So when you do get pinned down on the inside, it's not just an easy, oh, this is how I set my practice in qualifying laps. This is something unique where you have to slow down more to make that corner, and Menda on these fresh tires just did not get it woed up enough going into that corner.
Under yellow quickly for the 2nd time already in this race. Menda electing to get manual damage repair done on his respective machine here. And it's going to be interesting how next season fares, keep in mind as well, because we talked about this a little bit before. We're on Friday nights. It will be now the Dirt Street Stock Series at 7 p.m. You can catch them on GSRC. Then it will be the Super Late Model Series with the updated Super Late Models. And then the trucks taking place for Season 8 of their competition on Friday nights. Then on Saturday nights, there'll be Street Stock Series, Tour Modified, and Grand National Series competition. So it's going to be interesting how Friday nights fare for next season.
Especially because now you have 5 asphalt series, right, Justin? So you get almost a little bit more practice, and it's fun to watch some of the dirt guys too. We know Justin Moore in a lap from the Dirt Street Stock Series that is also here live on GSRC on Friday nights. Last night in his championship race for the Dirt Street Stocks, went from 10th to 2nd in that race, and now you're going to have the opportunity to run 5 asphalt races over 2 days. It's almost like gain extra practice, even though these cars don't necessarily convert to one another very well.
Meanwhile, trying to pull away off this jump is going to be Kenny Kibbe in control of the field with 88 laps to go. Justin Morton on the outside, Belke and Shane in row 2, Juleman Harden in row 3, Altice and Shepard already in the inversion spots. Rounds out the top 10. Green flag is out, off and away. A great launch for Kenny Kibbe.
Got a feel for Adam Shane there. He had an opportunity to follow Kibbe. Didn't get the jump either. Now he has Austin Belke in that Jeff Gordon throwback stuck on his outside.
Shane, though, trying to work hard against the banking, trying to slide up. Can't get clear. Be able to keep it side by side, in fact. As now Harden now gets the inside now. Trying to battle with J.R. Shepard as Shepard has already moved his way up 6 positions.
P6 for J.R. Shepard behind the boss man, Lowell Jewell. On board here, he's looking for championship number 4 out of 5 in the Grand National Series. Last year was the first season with no drop weeks, and he already knew that he was going to miss a race. Still brought home the SK Modified Division Championship, but was not able to get all the way back up to the points to win in the Grand National Series. Tonight looking to get back to the top step of the podium with win number 8 on the year.
And you can see the line as well, though, Devin, that JR's having to use is actually trying to diamond the corner a little bit more, try and use a bit of an arc to get down to the bottom of the racetrack and try and set up a run on Lowell Jewell here.
And when it comes to saving tires, he's the best at it. J.R. Shepard's the best in this league, as he might have oversent it there in the middle. But that's one thing that he does well, is experiment different lines to utilize those tires and maintain them best. Not every driver has the ability like J.R. Shepard to go and try different things in practice and see what does this do to my right front in traffic or when I'm out in the open trying to run someone down. Something that J.R. Shepard excels at, and part of the reason why he has been so dominant in so many different series.
Meanwhile, Kenny Kibbe is still holding on to the race lead, turning the quickest laps on the racetrack, in fact, at the moment is Kibbe. By a couple 100s per lap over Justin Morton. 18.836 last time by. He's also got the fastest lap of the race in the 18.7s, a tenth of a second of fall so far.
We will just see more and more fall off from these right front tires. And these guys up here, Kenny Kibbe, Justin Morton, know how to maintain the pace so they don't burn up that right front. And you talked about particularly, Justin, Austin Belke. Right now staying in the 3rd position. Last year, burn out that right front early on in the race after starting on pole. And right now just maintaining that pace behind these guys, taking care of that right front tire, but it's never fun when you're under attack from Adam Shane.
Yeah, the pressure is definitely still on from that 65 machine, and for Adam, he's had some positives throughout the season, but hasn't had necessarily the results, it seems, throughout the campaign, especially in the second half of races. He's had some bad luck of recent times.
Yeah, a fun addition to the series, but has yet to find really the amount of luck that I think that he would be interested in when racing with this series. But nonetheless, Adam Shane has made himself a name known well enough to be running in the top 5 or top 10, excuse me, just about every single week. Been a fun guy to watch here. Good addition here to the Grand National Series.
Indeed, has been throughout the campaign. Currently 16th as Jeffrey Harden around for the caution flag. From 8th position and has already put the car on the tow truck. Was about to battle with Lowell Jewell, who had just left by both Shepard and your biggest mover, Todd Liston, for just spinning it around off turn 2.
The white and turquoise number 44 behind Lowell Jewell. Harden dives it into turn one. Has a really good arc here, but we talked about this before the race, that balance of how much gas can I put into this car on corner exit without looping it around. And I mean, Harden was just on the edge there and had a little bit too much. This will put him multiple laps down.
He's already out of the race as your first DNF as well. He's put his car into the garage area as well for the night. But two things to note. J.R. Shepherd is already up to 5th position. Todd Liston has gained 10 positions, starting in 16th spot, has also followed right behind Shepherd this entire time.
Hey, I tell you what, if you got to start in the back, if there's anyone that you want to follow, it's that number 98. And it looks like Todd Liston has been taking advantage of that. Our GSRC hard charger so far through the first 25 laps. Hey, that's the right guy to follow. If you can keep up with J.R. Shepherd and stay on that rear bumper, you know you're coming to the field.
And we know Liston can have the speed. We've seen it from him in the past, especially in the past couple seasons. This season, though, it's been very rough. 17th in the point standings, in fact, entering tonight. Average finish of 12th.
I think everyone this year has had their, maybe not fair share, some more than others, of just really bad luck. And like you said, we know that Todd Liston has the speed. We've seen him run up front and in the top 5 in the past, but he's one of the drivers who has just seen absolutely terrible luck throughout the season. And right now, looking to turn things around. A great way to start next season is by getting a good finish the week before in the season finale of this season.
Especially with the momentum trying to carry on forward for the start of that season. As with 73 laps to go, we're ready to get back underway for our season finale for Season 5. Kenny Kibbe, Justin Morton, Austin Belke, Adam Shane, your top 4. Shepard and Liston, Jewel and Altice, your top 8. Smith and Segal round out the top 10. Keep in mind, Kurt Smith starting from the back from an EOL. Off and away goes Kenny Kibbe, another great launch. Justin Morton tries to pursue right behind, gets back single file as Shane attacks on the outside of Austin Belke's car, taking away 3rd.
What did you learn? Couldn't do it last restart. Now able to find some momentum on the high side, battling for that 3rd position. And all J.R. Shepherd and Todd Liston can do is watch right now as these guys continue to go double wide here through turns 1 and 2.
And if you noticed a little bit on the quarter panels here, there's a brand new logo on Austin Belke's car as well that matches the logo with the hood of J.R. Shepherd. Remember that organization talked about before, Different Path Motorsports from Shepherd? Austin Belke now with those logos on his machine, and we've seen Shepherd talk about, and drivers have talked about the help Shepherd has given to some of these drivers. Do you think that's helping Austin Belke now tonight with his performance?
Oh, you know it. J.R. Shepherd, I think the majority of the drivers have talked about how J.R. Shepherd during their weekly practices, whether it's street stocks, modifieds, or the Grand National cars, just kind of chats with everyone in the group chat and lets them know, hey, you can do this better, or I'm doing this. It's a very respectful, open, conversational group that this series is. And I think that anything that you can learn from J.R. Shepherd in this league can go a very long way. It's Todd Liston trying to go up the rear bumper of J.R. Shepherd there out of 1 and 2.
Trying to make the pass on the high side. In fact, couldn't make it work in 87. Back single file they go once more with 8 laps to go. The moment Shepherd is in position to win the championship if he runs where he is right now in this 5th position. Next driver up is Austin Belke, trying to build up a big run on the 24 already.
With Kenny Kibbe still leading this race, the 98 knows what he needs to do. Just maintain what he's doing right now. With that being said, no race car driver will ever be satisfied with that. So I think that we can expect J.R. Shepherd to start picking his way through the field. You still see him running that very different diamond corner line. Maybe 8 points behind. He knows that he just has to go out and win. We know he's capable of it. Only unfortunately been able to do it once this year, but Kibbe commanding this field very well, and J.R. Shepherd just hanging out. You don't need that bad luck that you got into last week.
Exactly. Of course, remember that happened up towards the front for Shepherd, in fact, and ended up going twofold at some point in that race towards the very back. For Kenny Kibbe, continues to lead. Still one of the quickest cars on the racetrack in the 19-1s now. It's 0.4 of a second of fall off now already. This is already after just about 15 laps or so. Check that, 10 laps or so on this respective run on these tires. for this part of the tires, this stint, I should say.
And these two, pace is just kind of blistering right now. These two, about a second and a half ahead of Adam Shane. If I didn't know any better, because these are two of the premier drivers in this league, I would think that they'd be burning up that right front too much for later in the race, maybe just compared to JR because he's taking it a little bit easier, but these guys know how to have the pace while also conserving the tires, so I guess right now I'm just going to watch and see how much further away can they get from this pack, because this is a blistering pace right now by these two.
Donnie Moore is now pulling off the racetrack, and the 26 machine was running in 12th position, had nearly slid up into the wall, in fact, so Donnie Moore has now made his way to the pit lane. Fortunate for Donnie Moore, not the way I think Donnie would have wanted the season to end, pulling into the pit lane. This may be the 26 machine parking it there. But for Adam Shane, he's watching the mirror as the battle is going on between Shepard and Belke. J.R. Shepard wants to take away that position and does. Belke gives him the spaces. Liston now goes for the hole.
I don't know if that was a late decision or he was just loose coming off of turn number 2. But Liston trying to follow suit, getting to the rear quarter panel. Not going to get there in time, though. Stuck behind Austin Belke for maybe a few more laps. J.R. Shepard moving into P4 now, and you want to stay on the inside of someone as little as possible to help conserve that right front. We talked about when there's someone to the outside of you, just makes corner entry just even a little bit more sketchy. You don't want to see that. You want to stay single file as much as possible when making these moves for position. And now Shepard just saying the lock on target on Adam Shane for that podium spot.
Right now, running a little bit quicker is Shepard by a couple 100ths of a second each time around. It should be worth noting, though, that Liston is starting to look appearingly losing that right rear, and that was also big a couple seasons ago, I remember, with Justin Warren in particular here at this type of racetrack. So this is going to be critical to not just protect the right front, but the right rear, as there goes the right rear of Shane, kicking out as Shepard takes it to the outside for third. As the caution comes out.
The Gala down the front straightaway in the 81 got loose coming off of turn number 4. He backed up that black and red machine. Right when things were starting to get dicey up front, J.R. Shepard is going to collect that third position. Take a look back here on the GSRC replay machine, hanging out behind Ruben Altis. 81 of Joe Segala stuck kind of far back in the field, outside the top 10. Using that outside lane for momentum and just overcooks it coming out of 4. And you talked about Justin saving that right rear. We don't see that as a main priority every short track. But because of the speed and because of the banking, that's just part of what brings onto this track. On board here with Jason Menda, just to the outside there for a quick little miss. But a great point with you, Justin, because these right rears are almost as important as the right fronts when you come to a track like this.
55 laps to go now, under caution once more. And that caution, if anything, helped Shepard the most here, since he was saving a ton. And now it's the big question, does he go for the points to just secure the championship, or does he go for the walk-off victory? He's up 9 positions now.
Dustin Morton goes, come on, man, we're not even halfway. And now you're going to try to get a jump on me and get to the inside of me. This is too early. I was still trying to set something up on Kenny Kibbe. I don't need this now. You have your top 3 championship competitors right here. Justin Morton, though, with the lack of cars still in the race, has been mathematically eliminated from this battle. But Kenny Kibbe still has plenty to fight for, and it doesn't matter if J.R. Shepard sits in P2 or not. Kibbe knows that he needs to win tonight, pick up his second win of the season. Watch out for him trying to make sure that that 98 doesn't go around him.
Yes, indeed. And keep in mind, again, Shepard is in that mathematical position to lock if the race finished the way it was right now, this running order, with Shepard in third and Kibbe still in the race lead. Approaching halfway as the lights stay on top of the iRacing sedan up at the front of the field. What else has also popped out to you as a result of how tonight's race has fared out so far? Because it seems fairly calm and tame compared to some of the races here in the past so far.
Well, I do like the pace sedan. I think it's a very nice machine. But with all the machines behind him as well, we've been seeing a lot of single car incidents, and you don't always see that at a short track. There's sometimes contact that sends someone spinning, or congestion that ruins a lot of guys' nights. Tonight's just been one guy loose in the middle, loose on exit, because they're trying to use that throttle control. And I think that that is a topic that we are going to continue to watch. Who has the best throttle control to maintain those tires but still have that speed on corner exit? Who has that the best? I've seen a couple guys get a little squirrely trying to push that limit. Who's going to have that speed and push the limit the best? Because that's how you make speed. A loose car is a fast car, supposedly.
Loose is fast is the saying. Am I right? We'll have to see if that ends up staying that case for some. Off and away we go. 51 laps to go. Kenny Kibbe and a good launch. Justin Morton stays in second, but J.R. Shepard wants eyes on him to try and hold on to third position, and then some, as Shane Huey scrapes the wall coming off in turn 2 behind him.
Now he has a gaggle behind him. Belke hugging that yellow line, gets to the rear quarter panel, but can't make a move. Listen, a little bit of squirrely next to him as well, side by side for P number 5, excuse me. Belke, though, just cannot quite get a grip here to find his way around Shane.
And the caution flag is out of the back of the field once more. Mike Holloway, Ruben Ortiz, several others towards the back involved. Under yellow once more. Significant damage now to Mike Holloway, who had not used the previous chance for a fast repair from the first incident he was involved in. This started all the way down the back straightaway, where I think it's a bit of a brain fade possibly, as Mike Holloway comes up and drives it not in a straight line.
Can anyone say commentators curse? We have our first multi-car incident tonight after I'd say we haven't seen very many tonight. Yeah, Holloway coming up the track, he might have expected Altice to be a little higher, but at the end of the day, you gotta make sure that you're not gonna hit that car on the outside. He was sliding up, and even if Altice was all the way up to the wall, that was gonna be a close one.
Absolutely. Mike Holloway did have a fast repair in hand, uses that. The rest of the drivers so far have not elected to come down to the pit lane. Ruben Ortiz keeping the damage for now. Bruce Pearson also involved in that incident. The rest of the field able to stay clean. 47 laps to go. And now let's take the opportunity to talk about next season's schedule, because that has been released next week, in fact, on March 27th. It'll be the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Then it'll be Easter weekend, followed by Oxford Plains Speedway. On April the 10th, North Wilkesboro for the third race of the Moonshine Challenge, Five Flags, South Boston, Southern National, Beach, Lanier, then Memorial Day for an off weekend, then Martinsville for Moonshine Challenge race number 4, Irwindale, surprisingly on June the 12th, first time in a long while for that racetrack on the calendar, and we close out again here for next season.
I love it because you have those all reliables. You're going back to New Smyrna, Southern National, Martinsville, but then you throw in a little bit of a mix here. We're going to go to Oxford Plains, the site of almost every demo derby in the hosted session area for iRacing. And then, of course, Irwindale coming back out west for a short track. I'm going to love seeing these cars in this series out at Irwindale for a weekend of racing. So that's something that BRL does a really good job of, where you have your tracks that are just points to the series, but you still have a little bit of mixing and matching to give these guys a new challenge week in and week out, and go to some very fun tracks, because there's so many great short tracks here on the iRacing service.
Want to go signal this time by, and bad news for Austin Belke. He has now had technical issues. He is now out of the race as a result. Will likely finish 15th position as a result of said technical issues. As well, though, Ruben Ortiz did use a fast repair this caution. Bruce Pearson did not. 44 to go. Kenny Kibbe has dominated so far. He's off and away once more. Green flag's back out. Shepard able to clear by Adam Shane as the top 3 all go single file. First battle side by side for 4.
The boss man, Lowell Jewell, NASCAR media photographer for OnPitRoad.com, pushing up the track a little bit. Here comes Jason Menda. Contact, though.
Bit of a door slam from the side from Jason Mendes. Significant damage now added once more to the 45. Significant left front damage to Lil Jewel. That shuffles the boss man back to 8th position as a result.
And to turning that Grand National car into a street stock, it looks like, on the front end. But how about the drive up? We saw him with his issues earlier in the race, overcooking it into the corner, battling back into the 6th position now. What a run through the field for Jason Menda.
With the damage even, it is affecting him a bit down the straightaways, but the battle for the race lead is on. Top 3 all bumper to bumper, coming to 40 to go this time by. Kenny Kibbe trying to go for a bit of a wider berth and a double apex. Justin Morton trying to go for the flatter run. Shepard trying to get that diamond line off of turn 4 in particular.
Who would have thought when this green flag flew that only 60 laps into the race, it would be these 3 under a blanket battling it out for the lead. Everyone, though, staying patient here behind Kenny Kibbe. Might just come down to who has the best tires under him, and we saw Kibbe and Morton really fast early on. You gotta wonder if Shepard might have a little bit of extra punch in there for these remaining laps.
Well, there is also the saying, it's easy to catch somebody, but it's hard to pass them. And we're seeing that right now where the drivers are having a hard time trying to figure out which line they have to go to be able to make this pass, it appears so far. Staying single file, Shepard a little bit more close to the back end of Morton's bumper that time. Kibbe able to pull away some ground this time. Off the corner exits now as Morton's starting to slip and slide.
And you have to wonder, along with that, can someone make that outside lane work as a passing lane? We haven't really seen that tonight, but as the track maybe cools down and these tires wear out, can somebody squeeze enough to make that really work? You need to see the launch that Shepard gets off the corners by diamonding, closing up on the rear bumper of that number 9. I love seeing those different lines. Maybe running them just a little bit higher than everyone else too, is now lap traffic's going to come into play.
That's Joe Sagawa, spun around on the front straightaway, just got back rolling. And indeed could play a factor depending on the line from the 81 machine. Also, Austin Belke is up the road and just got back onto the racetrack and is 9 laps down as a result of those technical issues. So 2 drivers now, as a result, will be lap traffic here for the race leaders. Joe Sagawa goes to the high side. Kenny Kibbe able to get the run despite having to take the tighter apex last time for the exit of turn 2. Morning clips the apron and loses some time. JR Shepard over the back bumper of the TDR machine.
And as a lap car at a short track like this, there is no good spot to pull over or stop. Like we said earlier, it's still not fun to have a car on your outside on entry or exit. It doesn't matter where that car is. If you have to react to them, unless you're passing them to the center of the corner, it's going to deter your speed on either corner entry or corner exit. Shepard woes in a wee bit fast.
I think he tried to get to the outside there, but carried way too much speed, nearly hit the back end of Justin Morton, in fact.
Wee bit sketchy, just a wee bit.
A little bit, indeed. 32 to go this time by. Now Shepard has to reset as a result, and he's trying to utilize that middle line again. Austin Belke is currently about a quarter of a racetrack or so ahead of these drivers. Could also become a factor here in these closing stages as Shepard, again, tight on the bottom of the racetrack, can't get to the inside of Morton.
And these guys all race very respectfully, very patiently, especially these 3 up here. But if you're Justin Morton, if I'm Justin Morton, I'm going, whoa, what was that shot up there on the outside? I might be a little bit worried now looking in that rear view mirror. When will JR make the move? And exactly how is he going to make it? I think Justin Morton might be keeping an eye in the rear view mirror now.
Kenny Kibbe possibly too, obviously, because if that ends up going side by side, who knows what happens if Shepard gets to Kibbe as well and tries the same type of move.
Yeah, and with the 14, he had a little bit of a gap on Justin Morton on that prior long green flag run. Not so much anymore. JR a little squirrely there on corner exit. He'll lose some time. But nonetheless, when everyone's stacked up like this, a quick move by JR Shepard could put the 14 stay in turmoil as well, as in, if Shepard can get around the 9 quickly, Kibbe would have to react to that quickly.
Shepard now losing a little bit of ground as a result of some slippage. Past couple laps or so, lost about 2/10 last time. These leaders now coming down for the slight touch. Should be worth noting that fourth is side by side as well. Todd Liston is trying to get by Adam Sheen just behind your top three.
Liston to the inside here. Joe Segala watching on the lap car behind them. Shane really up the track as Liston gonna save it-ish. Got a little bit of the wall, but he's only going to lose maybe 2 positions at most. Boy, that is a close one. Could have been so much worse. We'll take a look back here on the GSRC replay machine. Watch that black and yellow number 87 on the inside. Tries to get back on the throttle. What a save. He might have not touched the wall. If he did, it might have just been a little bump there. That was incredible. Yeah, and Joe Segala there also to stay out of the way and not make contact. That could have been a very nasty wreck.
An absolutely scary moment for some of these drivers. Kurt Smith, as a result, is also able to take away position. Now all the way back to 7th is Liston, being able to get up to a battle for 4th as a result. Bossman Lowell Jewell is currently in the 8th position in the final inversion spot at the moment. Towards the front, Shepard has reeled back in Morton a little bit. Back within about half a second of one another, give or take, with 23 laps to go. In fact, Kibbe is looking strongest now on the corner exits out of the 3.
Was Kibbe saving a little bit, maintaining and commanding the pace of this race? And you can even see now he's squirrelier than he has been, but he's also faster than he's been the past handful of laps. Did he say, all right, it's go time? Because we've seen in the past with J.R. Shepard, there is a light switch that he punches, and that's when the nitrous kicks on or something with that car. Everyone in this top 3, I think, has a lap or a time frame in mind when it is go time. The reason why you save tires is to use them in the end, right? So when does that point come?
21 laps to go right now. When do you think that point's going to come?
I think if you're J.R. Shepard, it's got to come before 15 to go as Morton gets shaky off of turn number 2 and will lose time. Maybe right now, if you're J.R. Shepard, you see the 9 is having troubles with the rear end of that car. This might be time to go right now to get P2.
Yes, indeed. Right now it's going for now really starting to push is Shepard. Last time by, gained about nearly a full 1/10 of a second back on Justin Morton. Still preferring to run the bottom of the racetrack and go a little bit more shallow for the corner exit right now. Just can't get there quite yet with 19 laps to go. Near dead even, these drivers still.
And when you're racing in an official race on iRacing, there's guys who just don't get it sometimes. One is the guy who never conserves tires. They would never be in this top 3 conversation. The other guys are someone like me who never really found the point very well. You save tires for a reason, to use them later in the race. When does that point turn on becomes crucial, and we've seen J.R. Shepard use that, and I think Kenny Kibbe has picked up on maybe some of those points that J.R. Shepard has found is, all right, now it's time to go. Because we haven't seen tonight in the second half of this race where Kenny Kibbe flips a switch and he maintains the gap between himself and Justin Morton and J.R. Shepard. Not only is Kibbe maintaining this gap, he is extending it.
Has been now pulling away a little bit by a little. A couple 100s last time by, this time by. Turns a 19.355 to Morton's 19.415. Shepard nearly spins it around coming off of turn 2.
I think this comes down to how quickly Kenny Kibbe took the lead in this race. He started 3rd place on the grid because of an EOL for Kurt Smith, got to the lead fast, and then he commanded the pace of this race. Granted, Kibbe and Morton were light years faster than it seemed like anyone else on the track, but Kibbe might have found a mark or a way to drive this track to best save tires with his own racing style on this fixed setup. If he did, this might be a result of him forcing the tempo early on, and now he has the ability to use up those tires that he saved. Morton and Shepard just do not look to have the same juice that this 14 car has left.
Morton's now lost the back end nearly entirely, in fact, as he nearly slams the wall. Here comes Shepard for 2nd position. J.R. Shepard up the inside, takes it away, and it's similar to what happened in the past here. Morton now struggling with that rear tire with 12 to go. But the gap is already up to more than a second between Kibbe and Shepard.
And both Shepard and Morton borderline look desperate to try to catch that 14 machine. The gap extending to now 1.2 seconds, and as smooth as the 14 looks, the 98 just does not look to have that same consistency and speed the past 15 laps like the 14 has, coming now just 11 laps to go.
It was quicker a little bit than Kibby last time by, but the problem is, I don't think you're closing up 1 second and 10 laps here this time by. That's going to be the trouble spot. There is lap traffic ahead. That may be the one shot here to close up time. It's Ryan Seneca, Bruce Pearson. We're battling for 12 with 10 laps to go in the season.
We'll see if those lap cars make a difference. Like we saw earlier, there's no good way to pass a lap car to short track like this. Shepherd, though, just cannot seem to get that hook onto the rear spoiler of the 14 and reel him in. That time basically lost all the time that he gained last lap. This 14 car, something different tonight. I think that he saved exactly what he needed there for the first 80 laps of this race.
Kenny Kibby, if he can hold on right now, it'd be his second victory of this season. And the caution is out. It's Todd Liston.
There were a couple guys in this field looking really squirrely on this long green flag run, and the blows came to blows. No green-white checkers in this lead. So this is going to be a straight-out shootout here in these closing laps. Looking back here on the replay, Lowell Jewell in the white 19, the yellow number 2 machine, and Mike Holloway, Todd Liston, the 87. Just one little tap, that's all it took, and a nasty accordion here at New Smyrna.
Mike Holloway involved. Joe Segawa forced to check apart on the brakes as well. You can see right there just a little bit of help around the corner, and pow! Right in the middle of the racetrack, the accordion. Ruben Altis actually slamming the wall a little bit, it appears.
This will make things interesting, Justin. We're going to go green with what? 4, maybe 3 to go? And no green-white checkered, so we're just going to go till the next flag. Literally, the next flag ends the race.
What a way to end the season as Austin Belke will get the lucky dog. Belke will move to 9 laps down as a result of this caution flag. Remember, was out with technical issues. But now, how do you think this breaks down? Because for Kibby, the dominant car of the race, but Shepherd was starting to find a rhythm again once he got his way past Morton. How do you try and play this knowing that for Shepherd at the least, you just take the checkered flag for now. It's your championship.
And that's true because there are 12 cars on the lead lap. That doesn't give you the green light. Because personally, what I would say right now for JR is that you're on the outside. We know Kenny Kibby has the best right front maybe, but who has the best right rear to get off on this restart? If you can just keep up with him, you can pinch him and you can work your way to get this win. But if something even minor were to go wrong with any of the top 4, top 5, top 6, it could mean losing the championship. If you lose 3 positions here on this restart, you are not a race winner, but you are a champion. If you go all out here on the outside, because I know that he was going to be capable of contending on the outside lane for this restart, and something goes wrong with either the guy to the inside of you, the guy inside of row 2, row 3, yourself, the guy directly behind you, not only are you not a race winner, but now you're not a champion either. So, as much as I would love to see J.R. Shepherd just toss it in here to turn number 1, yeah, not the smart thing to do. How about we pick up championship number 50 instead?
Agree with you on that one. We'll see how this plays out. It will be a 2-lap shootout to the finish. You may have noticed Austin Belke get a couple more wave arounds. He's now only 7 laps down as a result. The 2 drivers a lap down this sequence will be Joe Segawa and Todd Liston. But it's Kenny Kibby in control of the field. He's dominated much of the night. While J.R. Shepherd looks to secure championship number 50 in his BRL career. Morton's in 3rd, Shane in 4th, Menda, Smith, Holloway, Allen the top 8. Next flag ends the race. iRacing pace car is off. Green flag is out. 2 laps to go. And J.R. Shepherd trying to push it hard on the outside, trying to get to the quarter panel. Can't get there as they battle hard behind him.
Kenny Kibbe in the 14 looking to sail away, coming to the white flag. Morton battling for that third position. Adam Shane might be able to steal this away here on the last lap.
A lot of battling towards the mid-pack right in the midst of the inversion spots. But at the front of the field, it will be Kenny Kibbe looking to hold on, and does off the final corner. He wins his second race of the season, while J.R. Shepherd makes history. It's his 50th BRL championship. Shane in third, Morton and Menda the top 5, and a fireworks-filled affair.
Championship number 50. Kenny Kibbe tried all year long to get that second championship, won it last year. Only able to get to victory lane twice, though, here in this season. Nonetheless, I think that this is just a precursor to potential great championship battles that we are going to see moving forward here in the Grand National Series.
I think so as well, based on what we've seen in the past and what we have seen throughout this season in particular. Kenny Kibbe now celebrates as post-race coverage coming up after this. You're watching the Global SimRacing Channel from the virtual New Smyrna Speedway. Welcome back to post-race coverage for the BRL's Grand National Series here on the Global SimRacing Channel for the New Smyrna Speedway. After an exciting finish and an excitingly historic championship for J.R. Shepherd, Kenny Kibbe comes away with a second victory of the season by 0.3 of a second over Shepherd, who secures championship number 4 in this series and the 50th overall in BRL competition. Adam Shane finished in third tonight, with Justin Morton and Jason Menda rounding out your top 5. Kurt Smith, Mike Holloway, Ruben Altis rounded out the inversion spots tonight. Mike Holloway, Bruce Pearson rounded out your top 10 tonight. Devin.
Unfortunate endings for Ryan Seneker in 11th, Lowell Jewell 12th, Joe Segala comes home in 13th tonight. 14th for Todd List and Austin Belkey, 15th after technical errors. Donnie Moore in 16th, and Jeffrey Harden rounds out your 17-car field here at New Smyrna Speedway.
Kenny Kibbe now joins us from Virtual Victory Lane. Kenny, first things first, hard-fought ending to this one, but in the end, you dominated tonight's race. How does it feel? 94, 100 laps led.
Yeah, I mean, we feels great. We set out, or we did exactly what we set out to do, and that was, what we had to do, and come out and win this thing and force JR into having a good solid run, and of course he did. I mean, he's JR, but yeah, I mean, I had a lot of motivation this week. We had a few races this season that either I could have done something different, or just circumstances didn't go our way. They kind of took some more wins away from us, so I was really motivated to put this thing in victory lane, and I appreciate the guys behind me, Justin and JR. They kind of knew I was a little bit backed in the corner, and they didn't do anything overly aggressive to pass me, but they still make me work for it, and I'm glad we were able to get it done.
How would you describe your season overall, where officially 2 victories, an average finish of 4th, just 7 points behind Shepard?
Yeah, I mean, really, it was a great season. I mean, we were just as consistent this season as we were last season. I think the real kicker, though, was that Martinsville race where we just got kicked out of the server about halfway through the race. And if we would have finished, like, let's say 5th, we would have gained 11 points from where we did finish, and that would have won us the championship. So knowing that, and knowing it was just a kind of a circumstances thing, I mean, I have to be really happy with how we ran, because we were able to at least be eligible for the championship right up to the end, and if that had not happened, we would be even better off. So super proud of the effort this season.
Now let's talk a bit about next season. What's your approach going to be towards next season if we see you in the race car for next season?
Yeah, so just as I did last year, I took the middle 2 seasons off, and I plan to do that again this year. So I won't be in the race car for the next couple seasons, but I will be back for sure. This league is a bunch of awesome people, and it's a lot of great racing, and it's put on by great broadcasters like you guys, and I'll for sure be back, and I will be still on the Friday series in the dirt. On the street stocks, but yeah, I will be taking a couple seasons off in this series.
Fortunate to hear, but is there anyone you want to thank on your run for tonight?
Yeah, just everybody at the Bootleg Racing League for coming together every week. JR and Justin, we had some awesome battles all season long. Congrats again to Adam too, with a great run tonight in 3rd. You guys in the booth, as always, do a great job. Everybody that likes to watch me ride along with me every week. And yeah, it's a fun season as always. And I look forward to when we're able to come back.
Congratulations on the victory tonight. We hope to see you on the track soon, and we'll see you in the future. Congrats, Kenny.
For sure. Thanks.
That's Kenny Kibbe coming away with the race victory. 3rd place went to Adam Shane, one of his best finishes of the season. He's with Devin Henry.
Behind his career best in BRL's Grand National Series, his 2nd podium, Adam Shane getting a shout out from Kenny Kibbe as well. Started 2nd, slid back a little bit, but comes back to the podium. Talk me through your day here. A little bit of slipping, sliding, but bringing it home on the podium.
Yeah, it was an intense race tonight. I enjoyed it a lot. I was trying to save tires. And then I started noticing that I started, trailing back a little bit, and just kind of wanted to take it easy through the whole race, and really didn't want to see that last caution because, to be honest, I was happy with 4th. But, I'm kind of glad it came out because I ended up getting 3rd.
Yeah, that ended up going pretty well. You get that restart starting on the outside of Justin Morton. Take me through that final restart to get yourself on the podium. How did that work out on the outside to get enough momentum to get around? Was that just the tire conservation actually working out for you there?
It might have been. I can't say 100% it was. I just ended up starting in third gear. I didn't want to start in second and take a chance of spinning the tires, so I just took a gamble. I figured if I start in third, either I'm going backwards or I'm going forward, and it seemed to work out. And the outside line seemed to work on restarts, so it worked out.
Yeah, the gamble ends up cashing out for your second podium of the year. Who do you have to thank for another trip to the podium tonight?
Well, I want to thank you guys at GRC for putting on a good broadcast as always. I want to thank Lil Jewel and BRL. And then I want to thank my sponsors, Gargamel Kitchen, for helping me through this all the time.
How about the plans? What does next season look like? Will you be joining us again?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Can't wait.
Well, we will look forward to that. Adam, congrats on the podium finish. We'll see you again next season. Now it's time to bring in the champion. Justin Prince is caught up with the champ, J.R. Shepard.
JR, you've done it again. While you finished second tonight, you have won a championship once more in the Grand National Series for the fourth time. But tonight is also a historic one. It's your 50th in bootleg competition. How are you feeling?
That's extremely cool to get 50. I've been in this series with BRL for a long time and never thought that anything like that would ever happen after my first season. So it's really cool to do. Glad that we was able to get a championship for Different Path Motorsports this year, but it's kind of a weird season. It's like Kenny said, he had some issues at Martinsville that were completely out of his hands, and without that, he would have got the championship. So kind of weird to win one like that, but we'll take it.
You did as well, though, also get to 50, have a full sweep on the championships this season on Saturday nights in BRL competition. The straight stocks, the modifieds, and the Grand National Series. How difficult was that to do, to be able to have the consistency in all three series each and every Saturday night?
It's not easy. I know sometimes it looks easy because of stuff that happens in the race, make it look that way, but it's not easy to do. You have to adjust to the different types of cars and how to drive them differently. And if you don't, you won't be able to finish toward the front. So it's fun to do that and to be able to do that. So yeah, it's cool to get 3 this season, but a lot of good luck goes into it. It does not matter how good you are. If you don't have some kind of luck on your side, you'll never get it.
As well, let's talk about Different Path Motorsports as well tonight. As, by the way, it was your 13th time sweeping the Asphalt Series on Saturday nights. Also picked up a fellow driver who was with those logos tonight, Austin Belke. How big has the growth been so far for Different Path Motorsports to now secure some championships as well under that banner?
It's definitely doing more than I probably intended for it to do starting out. And yeah, we picked up some people. Austin's one of them, and it's amazing. I've raced around Austin a lot. I know that he has the talent, and I've seen what he can do with the car. But there's just a few small things that he needed, and it's paying off. He's finishing up front on a regular basis now, and feels extremely good about it, which is great. So that's one thing I intended to do. I want to help some people and get things better. And we've been working on the Open Series side to try to work on some setups and get better there. So it's developing more than what I thought, but it's pretty cool.
So for you and your team now, what's your focus going to be like for next season to try and do this again, win more championships in the BRL?
I'd like to. There's probably going to be several things this season that's going to come up on a Saturday and keep me from racing. So it's one of those things where, we don't have sponsors that keep us obligated to be here. So if things pop up in your personal life, you kind of go and pay attention to those. And we don't have drop weeks. So I doubt anything special will happen next season, but we'll continue to work with guys like Austin, and hopefully we can continue to get some wins.
Anyone you want to thank for your championship tonight?
Yeah, just really appreciate everything that the Bootleg Racing League does. It's an amazing place to race. I hate that the car counts kind of drop off toward the end of the season, but Lowell's always good at trying to build it back up, and we'll get there. And thanks to Different Path Motorsports this year, and of course to GSRC. You guys do a fantastic job, I think, every week, and make us look really good. So we definitely appreciate it, guys.
Thank you very much for the time, JR. Congratulations once more on another BRL championship.
Yep. Thank you guys so much.
JR Shepard with the full sweep to be able to secure his 50th total championship in Bootleg Racing League competition tonight, Devin. A huge milestone and a huge moment for JR's career, as well as for his organization that he talked about, Different Path Motorsports.
Yeah, and he's been so open to helping out so many drivers on every which end of this iRacing platform. And so kind of taking that to the next level is really cool to see, and I look forward to watching that more here, especially here in BRL. Would be unfortunate to not see him in every race next season, but nonetheless, I don't care if he's racing every race or not. There will be special things happening with him because I'm pretty sure he was going to win at least a couple races, and I don't want to be the guy to go and calculate every single win across all the series through his 50 championships. So I'm sure that's a large number as well, and I think we'll see more regardless of how many more races he has on the schedule for next season.
It's going to be exciting to see what happens next season as well. We talked a bit about the circuits. What are your expectations for next season overall?
Well, I'll tell you what, if we don't have any Kibbe and JR Shepard full time, is this going to be the breakthrough year for Justin Morton to claim a championship? Or for James Lowe? I mean, he has had very consistent years and then dropped off the past couple of seasons just because of a little bit of inconsistency or bad luck. This is going to be an optimum year for those two to go and claim a championship at the top level of BRL next year. Who will be the one to take advantage with the schedule with those good old reliable tracks and some really new fun tracks like Oxford Plains and Irwindale next year? I think that's going to be a major storyline for this upcoming season.
It's going to be very intriguing how the storylines all play out, but we'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's exciting action for the virtual New Smyrna Speedway. We'd also like to thank the Bootleg Racing League for organizing this exciting series. So I'd like to take the time to congratulate JR Shepard once more on the full championship sweep for this campaign, his 13th time doing so, as well as to thank the companies who provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed up on screen. Additional thanks go to Jude Lawn, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more for great work. Thanks as well to the team tonight, and Devin and Sean. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can check out our merchandise for sale at gsrc.storemvy.com. Or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget to head over to YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you don't miss a moment with the Global SimRacing Channel. As talked about, the next race will be the start of a new season. It will be Season 6 for this series, and it will be at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway on Saturday, March 27th, just a week from now. Coverage starts at approximately 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Green flag set for approximately 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in for that action. BRL will also be at Eldora for its respective dirt series to start things off come next week. But we also have upcoming races for other series listed on screen, so be sure to check those out and mark them down in your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.